Class 2, which is the first class of intermediates. First call for Class 1 of intermediates. Haley Heinrich is our judge today, and she says, I grew up on a diversified farming and cattle operation in Air, Nebraska. Most of my younger years were consumed by my participation in 4-H, showing cattle and hogs, as well as participating in showing cattle at a state and national level. I've had a passion for agriculture from a young age, and I'm truly blessed to be able to give back to the industry to help shape me into who I am today. I attended the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture and was a member of the livestock judging team. I was fortunate enough to place the top 10 in multiple national contests. After graduating college, I returned home to the family farm. We raised corn, soybeans, and wheat. I also raised purebred Charolais cattle, in which I sell bulls and females annually, as well as running commercial cows. It is a humbling and honor to be able to judge livestock shows and work with the great youth future of our industry. So thank you, Millie, for judging our show today. Second call for intermediate beef showmanship. Second call. And as Judge works through this first class of our juniors, we're also excited to host the first ever Dawson County Premium Auction tomorrow on Saturday, July 18th. Bidder registration will begin at 4 p.m. with the auction starting at 5 p.m. We invite everyone to come out and support our youth. A reminder to all livestock exhibitors, premium auction contracts must be placed in the drop box located by the red barn within 1 hour of the completion of your final market show. We also invite all premium auction exhibitors and their families to attend a brief auction meeting tomorrow morning, Saturday at 10 a.m. or immediately following the big show here in the Stevens Arena. We'll review the logistics of the sale, discuss what to expect, and answer any questions you may have. So we're looking forward to the great first premium auction and appreciate everyone's participation. This will be last call for our first class of intermediate beef showmen. Last call, intermediate showmen.
nice way to start off into the beef show. We've got our junior showmanship contest. They're all doing a great job, as we've done throughout other species. Talk with each one of the kids individually. Let's give them a big round of applause, and I'll pick a champion in reserve.
All right, results from our first class of beef showman, our juniors. First place purple and also our champion goes to Parker Caraway. Reserve champion purple goes to Rick McConville. And our blue ribbon placings go to Carlo Rickerson and Chancey Beaver. Momentarily, we'll be beginning our intermediate showman. We have 2 classes of those, and we'll have 5 entries in this first class. If there's anyone who has a rookie family who would like to come down, they can present the trophy to our intermediates. First call for class 2 of intermediates. First call for class 2. This is second call for class 2 intermediate beef showman. Second call for class 2 intermediates. Last call for class 2 intermediate beef showman. Last call for class 2.
I won't take too much here, so we've got a couple heats of the intermediates. The young lady out into the middle will be coming back. Let's put our hands together. All these kids are doing a really nice job in this heat.
Results from our first class of intermediate beef showmen. Purple goes to Gabby Caraway, and blue ribbons go to Augustus Barnes, Lathan Johnson, Alex Rickardson, and Katie Anderson. Next in the ring will be our second and final class of our intermediate beef showmen, followed by our selection of our champion, reserve champion intermediate.
Another nice set here in the intermediate showmanship. The three that I've pulled out to the middle will be coming back for finals. Let's give all five of these kids a big round of applause on the job well done.
Results from our second class intermediates, purple placing goes to Megan Walhosky, Grant Walhosky, and Owen Lassen. Our blue ribbon placings go to Katie Wolf and Owen Fairley. Excuse me. This will be first call. Our next in the ring, we're going to be bringing back our purple ribbon from class 1, and then we'll have these three from class 2 out to select our champion, reserve champion, intermediate showman. This will be first call for class 1 of senior showmanship. First call for class 1 senior showman. This will be second call for class 1 senior showmanship. Second call for class 1. This is last call for class 1 of our senior showmanship. Last call for class 1.
It's really good competition here after the finals of the intermediate showman. I think there's things that all four of these kids do really well. Just some things I'm looking for. I want that head to be up. They all have their halters in a good place. We don't need them clear down on their face of the calf. I want them set up properly. These kids have done a nice job with that. Maybe every so often you can find one that's not just perfect, but they're working on getting them awfully close. I want to commend these four, especially when they came back in. They gave each other a few moments to get through the gate, get in here and going, and then the next one came in. They've done a nice job of leaving some space between them while they're out here and being cognizant of where they're at and where everything else is happening in the ring. So congratulations to each one. It's kind of coming down to some really minor things just on where they place their hand on the halter. I want that hand close to the head so you've got control, just how efficient, how quickly they get that animal set up. Like I said, four really, really good showmen. It's pretty close, so it's coming down to some small things. But let's put our hands together for these four. They're doing a tremendous job.
Your champion intermediate showing goes to Owen Lassen. And your reserve champion intermediate showman is Gabby Caraway. Congratulations to all our exhibitors. Once we clear the arena here, we will begin with our senior showman. We have two classes, and we'll begin with class 1. We have 4 entries in this next class. This will be first call for our second class of senior showmen. First call, class 2, senior showmanship. Second call, Class 2, Senior D Showman. Second call, Class 2, Senior D Showmanship. This will be last call for our Class 2 Senior D Showmanship. Last call for Class 2 Senior D Showmanship.
A nice first seat here in the senior showmanship division. The two young ladies out towards the pins over there will be coming back, but let's put our hands together for all four of them.
Results from our first class of senior showmanship. We have purple ribbon placings going to Bristol McConville, Nate Lasson, and blue ribbons to Valley Barnes and Haley Jensen. Next in the ring, we have 4 entries for our second class of senior showmanship. Following that second class, we'll be bringing back our purple ribbon placings for the selection of our senior champion.
Blair.
Another nice round here, the senior showmanship contest. The two out in the middle will be coming back. Let's put our hands together for all four of these ladies who are doing a nice job.
Results from our second class of senior showman. Purple placings went to Jalen Wolfinger and Paige Walahoski. Blues went to Emma Howard and Taylor Kramer. Momentarily, we'll be bringing back our two purples from our first class of seniors and the two purples from this class for the selection of our champion senior D showman. Is there a member of the Carl Hefley family that would like to present the senior D showmanship award? If you do, please come down to the table. Also, the champion senior showman will be invited to the elite showmanship contest, which is going to be held tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. So if you'd like to see that contest, it's going to be held tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Following our champion senior showman, we will begin our breeding beef show with our British breeds, followed by the composite continental breeds. So if you're going to be showing breeding beef, if you want to be getting those ready and up to the holding area, that would be wonderful. We'd like to invite the Carl Heffman family down to the backdrop for a picture following their selection of our senior showman. Once again, our breeding show will follow this selection of our champion senior showman. So if you have a breeding animal, a British breed or a continental breed, bring those to the holding area, and we'll begin that here shortly after the selection of our champion senior showman.
A great setup here in our senior showmanship division. All four of these young ladies are doing a really nice job, making my life a little bit harder today, but I want to commend each one of you guys. You guys are doing great. If you juniors want to see how to show one, come out and watch these young ladies. They're asking for help. They're doing a tremendous job, like I said. Again, really just coming down to some really small things. There's two of them out here that I think you could flip the coin between any day and swap them back and forth. That just really pay attention to exactly where that animal's feet are, exactly how they're holding that head up on that particular animal, and just doing a great job of getting them shown. So with that being said, I'll show you a champion reserve, but like I said, really, really close here in between these four, and especially between the top two. But let's give these young ladies a really big round of applause.
So results from our senior beef showmanship. Your champion is Megan Lassen. Reserve champion goes to Jalen Wolfinger. Congratulations to both those exhibitors. Momentarily, we also, just as a reminder, Megan is going to be invited back tomorrow to participate and compete in the Elite Showmanship Contest, which will be here tomorrow at 3 p.m. So if you want to see some good showmanship, that would be a great event to attend tomorrow afternoon. Momentarily, we'll begin with our breed beef show. We're going to begin with our British breeds. We have one entry in our only class of British breeds. followed by 2 classes of our composite continental breeds. And then we will have a selection of a champion, reserve champion continental breed following those 2 classes. And then the third and final division of those particular breeds is going to be our crossbred and commercial. We'll go into bred. And then we'll go into our first calf heifers and mature cows. So if you're an exhibitor with the British composite continental breed, you need to have your animals up in the holding area at this time, please.
A single entry here in the British breeds class again brings us a really nice fall-born Angus heifer, a heifer I like quite a lot. I think she's really good and feminine about her head and her neck and the way she ties everything together. She's still got some foot and bone circumference to her. You step in behind her. She's got enough shape to her. She's big and bold in her rib. Again, one that just balances up really well, and we'll see her back out here, but congratulations to him. He'll also be the division champion for the British breeds.
So the results from our British breed division is Owen Lassen. And next in the class, we'll have our first class of composite and continental breed. These are the animals that were calved between January and February of 2025. This will also be our last call for our class 2 of our composite continental breed division. Class 2, last call. So if you're in the composite continental breed division, you need to have your animals up in the holding area. We're waiting on class 1, 3 entries. Those animals that were calved between January and February 2025.
reminder, there is free water provided by Flatwater Bank. We thank them for supporting the Dawson County Fair and bringing that out every day. Make sure you grab a full bottle of water if you need it. Really nice class of heifers out here, and I think some differences in the top two, and there's things I like about each of them. Ultimately, I'm going to use the young man's heifer to start the class. I think she's one that's just a little bit cleaner and a little bit feminine, more feminine. As you study her, the crest of her neck there, she's really up-headed. She gives you a nice feminine look from the side. She's got plenty of rib shape and dimension too. I think she maybe utilizes her clock just a little bit better when you set them into motion. A really nice fancy heifer there to start the class off with. Young ladies, balancer heifer that comes next. I love the length and the muscle shape of this one. I like all that about her. I think she's probably the stoutest featured one in this particular class. She maybe just gets a little bit heavier there at the crest of her neck. Maybe doesn't take quite as much of a long stride as I'd like. Off of those rear two, she's awfully close, but just some fine differences between those two. I think they're both awfully good heifers. Young man's heifer that's going to round out the class, a nice moderate frame type of one. I assume she appears to be pretty easy flushing, going to make the young man a nice cow on down the line. Today she's maybe one that just gets a little bit shorter fronted, gets a little bit overpowered by the two up ahead of her, but he's done a nice job with her. Let's give that class a round of applause.
Results from our first class of composite continental breeds. Her pole placings went to Paige Walahoski and Parker Caraway, and Blue went to Chancellor Peeper. Next to the ring, we've got 5 entries in our second class, and these will be born between March and April 2025. Following our second class, we will be doing our champion continental breed, champion reserve, champion continental breed heifer.
a really, really nice class of heifers out here. I think it maybe gets a little bit more challenging between 2, 3, and 4, but for me, I really like this white, black and white heifer out here that comes first. I think she's one that's a little harder to pick a hole in. She gets out and moves extremely well. She's good in terms of her angle. I love her head and her neck and the way she ties into her shoulder. She's got some shape and dimension to her. She's super fresh today. Just a really, really nice heifer that definitely gets your attention when she comes in the ring. As I said, it maybe gets a little bit closer here between these next three, and I took a moment because they are different in terms of type and kind. We've got some different breed characteristics out here as well. The young lady's heifer that comes next is a nice moderate frame type of heifer. I think she gives you a nice look from the side. She too's really fresh and good in her condition. I think she's one that's got a lot of rib shape in center body. She's really robust over the top side of her rib cage. She gets out and moves well enough. If you're going to critique her, I'd like to make her a little bit longer fronted. I think that's where she could be changed. She gets a little bit shorter fronted, but I still like just the usefulness and practicality of this one next. The young lady's balancer heifer that comes next. If you like a big outline, long made type of one, this one's probably one you kind of gravitate towards. She is a little longer fronted. She's big and tall. She's long sided. She's got a ton of body and dimension to her. She maybe gets a little bit flatter as you step in behind her to study her stifle to stifle, but a really nice heifer. If you're going to critique this one, and I guess for me why she lands in third, I think she gets a little bit straight at the angle of her shoulder. But again, a really nice heifer. I like the shape to her. Just a good heifer there in that hole. The heifer that comes next just kind of runs into a really tough class because I like this heifer a lot. I think she's really fresh. She's probably one of the more youthful ones just in terms of her build. I think she gets out and moves well. She's good here. She's nicely presented. A really nice heifer that's moderate frame. If you're looking for one to go out and just make it count, this is certainly one for me today. She maybe just gets a little bit more refined in her bone work. I think she gets a little bit shorter fronted. Maybe just isn't quite as big outlined as a couple of the other heifers out here, but a really good one there as well. The young man's heifer that rounds out the class just again gets in a really tough class. This heifer's got some muscle to her. She's got a lot of center body and dimension. For me, what kind of rounds her towards the end is I just like to let her move off of either end of her skeleton a little bit better. I think she gets a little straight shoulder and out of her hop. We just like her to take a little bit longer and more athletic step. A really deep class of the heifers here. Let's give them a round of applause.
Results from our second class of Continental breeds. First place purple went to Jalen Wolfinger. Second place purple went to Megan Lassen. Two other purples went to Megan Walahowski and Gabby Caraway. And blue went to Grant Walahowski. Next in the ring, we're going to bring in our first and second place from the two classes of Continental breeds for the selection of our champion and reserve champion Continental breed. This will be first call for our crossbred commercial division heifers. First call for crossbred commercial. This will be second call for our crossbred commercial division. Second call for crossbred commercial heifers.
heifers out here for the Continental Division. Young man's heifer that wins that first class is one that's really long spined. I like that about her a lot. I think she's one that reads big in her bone circumference. She's got a nice hoof and shape to her. Certainly one as we talked in class. I like the length and the way she ties her neck and shoulder together. She's maybe fighting just a little bit, giving everybody a little hard time to look at it, but I like this one a lot. I think she's got plenty of shape. If you're going to nitpick her, I think she maybe wants to break behind her shoulder ever so slightly when she gets out and goes, but a nice heifer there from that first class. The black and white heifer that came from the next class was one that I like a lot. When she came in from showmanship, she immediately caught my eye. I think this one's awfully good. And I'll be honest, maybe as we get out here, it comes a little tougher in here for reserve. But some really nice heifers. I'll just talk the seconds real quick. Second from that first class, the balancer heifer, awfully good just in terms of muscle shape and dimension. As I said, maybe if you take just a little bit longer stride, but I like that one. From a maternal aspect, I think that's certainly a cow in the making right there. Second place from our second class is one, as we talked, I just love the freshness of this one. As we compete in that class, she's maybe one I'd like to get her a little bit longer up through that front 1/3. She gets pretty short right there, but certainly one that's got a lot of body and volume to her. So, as I said, maybe gets a little bit closer for reserve. There's one that's been hitting me pretty hard all day, so I'll go out and I'll pick a champion in reserve in this division, but congratulations, let's put our hands together for them.
Your champion from the Continental Breed Division goes to Jalen Wolfinger. Congratulations, Jalen. And the reserve champion goes to Parker Caraway. Congratulations to everyone in that division. Next in the ring, we are going to be showing our crossbred and commercial division. We have one class, there's 5 entries in that class. Followed by the crossbred and commercial, we will get into our first calf heifers. First call for our cow calf, first calf heifer. See second call for our first calf heifers. Second call, first calf heifers.
And that's back to the commercial heifers here. The young man Smoky heifer there in the corner is going to be the class winner and the division champion. I like this heifer quite a lot. I think she's good enough in her structural build. When you get her out here, she's the one that's kind of the stouter featured, boulder sprung type of female, and yet she still looks like a heifer. Just a really nice place to start the class off with. It maybe gets a little bit tougher here. There's some give and take between all of them. Ultimately, I kind of went with the black heifer. I think this one just has a little bit more rib shape and volume to her. I think she's got a little bit more natural muscle shape. She's maybe a little bit further in terms of just her condition. I'd like to freshen her up just a little bit. I think she's one that gets pretty short fronted, maybe one that gets a little bit more terminal about her head and her neck. We just like to add a little bit, make her just a little bit more feminine in that aspect, but I do like just the amount of body dimension that she's got. The red heifer that comes next is one that is ultra feminine. She's long-sided. I like this one about her head and her neck. Today she's maybe just getting a little bit flatter. Maybe she just doesn't have quite as much shape to her, doesn't have quite as much center body capacity as a couple of the others, with a nice enough heifer there. The black baldy heifer that comes next is really long-sided. She's tall-made. She too is really good about her head and her neck. She's really cowy there. For me, I just like to add a shot of depth to her. I think she's one that just gets a little bit harder made through the center portion of her body. Just give her a little bit more flexibility off of her rear tooth on her skeleton, let her take a little bit longer stride, but she's doing a nice job with her. Young man's heifer that rounds out the class, our longhorn cross here. Sure enough, one that's kind of an easy flushing type of female. She's got some rib shape. She's sure enough good enough when you get her out and they'll move. For me today, she's just one. She gets a little bit shorter side and she gets a little bit flatter muscle. Just kind of like to add a little bit to her. But a nice class of the commercial heifers.
So the results from your crossbred commercial division, your purple ribbon and champion goes to Chance Keeper. Blue ribbons go to Alex Rickerson, Emma Howarder, Katie Anderson, and Owen Fairley. Next in the ring, we will have our cow calf. These are going to be our first calf heifers coming in first, followed by our mature cows. I've just been told this correction. Mature cows are coming in first, not the first calf heifers. Mature cows will be in the ring next.
Nice group back here for the cow-calf pair division. Just some differences in terms of breed and some differences in the calves they have on them. Also, not going to use the young ladies pair there along the rail. I think this cow has the best calf of any of them out here. She's got a good growthy calf on her. She's really good in terms of her udder. I like her teeth size and placement. I think she's good and even across her quarters. She can maybe be a little bit fleshier for a little older cow, or I guess a few years old by now. But I think one that's really impressive in terms of when you study the calf, and a cow that's really good structurally. She's built really well, so a nice place to start the class. The next cow that comes out, similar story, one that has a big calf on the side of her. I think this calf maybe just isn't quite as good as the calf on the pair that wins. But this too, she has a really nice udder as well. I like the way she gets out and moves. She's maybe one that's just not quite as full and quite as even on each quarter as that one that starts, but a really nice pair of both cow calves on the top here. The black baldy cow and her calf, this is one that's kind of a true commercial type cow. I love the udder on this one. I think she's really, really good in that regard. For me, she's maybe one that just gives up some shape and dimension. I think she's one that just gets a little bit tighter in her forerib and her flank. She's got a nice little heifer calf on her, maybe one that's just not quite as growthy, quite as fancy as they say that the calf on the cow that wins, but an awfully nice pair as well. The Charlotte pair that comes next, I like the growth on this calf. I think she's doing a nice job of raising this one. Maybe one I'd just like to see just a little bit, just have a little bit more flesh on her. I know she's an older cow, but certainly one that I'd like to see a little bit more flesh on. I think she's one that gets a little bit longer teated if you really want to nitpick on her, but she's doing a great job raising a nice big calf. This short horn pair that comes next, really nice moderate frame type of cow. She's pretty good at her udder. I like the way she just gets out and walks. I think she's good structure. For me, I think she just gets a little bit shorter body, maybe a little bit tighter there in her forward and her flank. It's kind of carried over to the calf. Nothing wrong with that calf one that's just getting up and growing as well. Just some small differences there, but a nice group of the cow-calf pairs. Let's give them a round of applause.
Results from our mature cow-calf pair. First place purple goes to Lorelei Ricketson. Second place purple goes to Greta Ricketson. Third place blue goes to Alex Ricketson. Fourth place blue goes to Gus Barnes. And fifth place blue goes to Dally Barnes. Next to the ring, these are our first calf heifers and calves. You should have 5 entries in each class. So following this class, we will have our section of our champion, reserve champion from this cow-calf division. Following the champions, section of our champion cow-calf, then we will bring back all of our champions, reserve champions, to bring back for our overall champion 3D.
out of the first calf heifer pairs out here. And ladies pair along the railings. It's pretty easy. I like this heifer a lot, and I think she's got an ultra nice calf on her. If you want to talk about one that's raising a big calf, she's doing a great job with it. Fancy little heifer, really patterned after her mom. Just one that really blends together really well. The cow has a nice udder. She's still in good condition. She's doing a nice job as a first calf heifer. The smoky cow that comes next has a nice calf on her. I like this cow just in terms of how she gets out and goes. I think she's appropriate in terms of her fat cover. She can maybe be a little bit more fleshy, but it's awfully hard on those first calf heifers to keep some on them. But she's got a nice stout calf on her, doing a good job there. The crossbred pair that comes next, I think for me, that cow's maybe not my type of kind, but as you start to study that calf, I think she's done a really nice job. She's really good at her udder structure. She's good in terms of teat placement. She's raising a really big calf, so she's doing her job out here. She's doing good work. The black heifer pair that comes next, I think one that too is really good. She's really, really good in terms of her teeth size. I like that about her. I think she's good udder. For me, she's maybe one. I like to get her a little bit fleshier in order to be back for another calf next year. Her calf's on the bigger side, but maybe could be just a little bit bigger as we compare to a couple of the others. But she's doing a nice job. She's out here in her working pose, young lady's brought a nice cow. The gray pair that rounds out the class just gets a little bit plainer made, maybe one that just doesn't have quite as much performance she's putting into her calf. We just like to get that calf growing a little bit better, but a nice pair there as well. So congratulations to them. Let's give all these calf athletes a round of applause.
Results from our first half heifer class, top half class. First place purple goes to Paige Walhowski. Second place purple goes to Haley Jensen. Third place blue goes to Owen Fairley. Fourth place blue goes to Paige Wolf. And fifth place blue goes to Haley Jensen. Next in the ring, we'll bring in our top two purple leather placings for our section of our champion reserve, champion cow calf pair. Following this division, we need to bring back all of our champion and reserve champion from our other breeding beef divisions for our selection of our overall breeding beef champion and reserve champion. The other division champions and reserve champions will be back. It's from the registry. We'll need Colin Lassen. From the Dawson County Fair division, we're going to need Fiona Wolfinger and Parker Caraway. And from our crossbred commercial division, we're going to need James Peter.
I sign up out here in the cow calf division, young ladies. A pair that wins in the mature cows. I really like this calf, and that's kind of what got her there. And I also really like the udder. I think she's a really nice outline type of cow. Just doing a really good job raising a nice calf on her. The first calf heifer out here just gives you such a nice look. She's maybe one that's a little bit showier, if you want to call her that. She's doing a nice job with that heifer. That heifer calf's maybe not quite as big as either of the calves on either side of her, but I think one that's plenty adequate for a first calf heifer. So I'll go out and I'll show you a champion reserve. Let's put them in together for the cow calf division.
Your champion cow calf pair comes out of the first calf heifer division for class. And champion goes to Paige Walhowski.
Good catch.
Reserve champion comes out of our mature
It's
calf.
fine. I'm just sitting here.
Shown by Lorelei Richardson. Congratulations to those two.
Thank you.
Next, we'll be doing our selection of our champion reserve champion breeding beef. So we're back our champion, reserve champions from each of these divisions for the overall selection. Following the selection of our overall champion breeding animal, we will begin our market feed show. For the market feed show, we are going to start with market steers, followed by our bred and fed, and third division will be market heifers. So just showing the market animal, we'll begin with market steers, followed by bred and fed, and then market heifers. And what we're doing, we'll be bringing back in our champion, reserve champion of each of the three deep divisions for section of the world champion and reserve champion. And a howler, we need you and your heifer up to the holding area immediately, please. And a howler. Please bring your heifer up to the holding area. Emma, we do not need your heifer. There was a miscommunication on our end. Sorry, Emma.
lineup of heifers out here. We see some good ones to get to this point as well. The young Angus heifer from the British breed of fall heifer. I like this heifer. I think she's good in terms of her feet and legs. She gets out and moves well, and I think for an Angus, she has some pretty good muscle shape. I like that about her. She's really bold through the center portion of her rib cage. If you're going to critique her, she maybe kind of wants to break behind her shoulder a little bit, but a nice heifer there in the Angus heifer. Your champion of the continental breed here, the black and white heifer is one, as I said earlier, hits you pretty hard. I think this heifer is relatively fault-free. I like a lot of things about her. Really nice female there. The commercial heifer, little man's smoky heifer there. I like this heifer. I think she's good in her angle. She gets out and goes. She's really practical and functional. You get her out here, she's maybe not as fancy as a couple of the others, but a really nice built one there. The cow-calf pair that wins the first calf heifer, a really nice heifer. I think she's doing a great job. She's good in terms of her udder. She's good in terms of feet and legs. She's really functional. She's really practical. She's done a nice job. A really nice representation. You guys have brought us some really good ones. I'll just make a quick comment about the second place in each division out here as well. The young man's second, or reserve continental. One that I like is in terms of the length she's got. I think she's really good about her head and her neck, the way she ties things together. This one's got some dimension to her when you step in behind her. She gives you a really nice look as well. Again, maybe another one that maybe breaks behind her shoulder ever so slightly. She's kind of giving him a hard time, a little bit harder to get a good read on as she comes back out here again, but a nice heifer. The reserve cow-calf pair, the mature cows. Nice cow that's just got a really, really good calf on her. So with that being said, I'll pick a champion reserve, but let's put our hands together for the breeding exhibitors.
Champion breeding meet goes to Jalen Wolfinger out of the Continental Breed Division. Your reserve champion goes to Parker Caraway, also from the Continental Breed Division. Congratulations, both Jim and Parker. In a couple minutes here, we will clear the arena. We'll get started with our market beef show. We are going to be starting with our market steers. In our first class in the ring is going to be cattle that weigh between 605 and 870 pounds. There'll be 2 entries in that class, and in our second class, we'll have 4 entries. So if you're in the market steer division of the market beef show, you can have your animals in the holding area at this time, please. And as soon as we get the lead cleared and we get those animals up here, we'll begin our market beef show. Anyway, sorry. The weight on the calves, I was looking at the mini weight, not the mini weight, just makes a lot more sense. So these calves in the class, the 2 calves will be in the first class, weigh 1,086 and 1,150. We are ready for our first 2 to come in the ring, and then we'll bring in our second class, which will have 4 entries. So this will be last call for class 2 over market steers. Last call for class 2.
Nice fair steers here to kick off into the market division. The young ladies gold steer wins this box pretty handily. I like the look of this one. I think he profiles awfully nice. He's one that's really big hip. He's got some top shape to him. Obviously one that just needs a little bit more time on feet, but he's on his way up. A nice pattern steer there. The steer that's going to round out the class, long-sided, he's functional by the structure, just needs a little bit more to him. I'd like him to be a little bit more expressively muscled and have a little bit more fat covered with a nice pair of steers.
Results from our first class of market steers. Tammy Caraway had first place purple, and Haley Jensen had second place blue. Next in the ring, we have 4 entries. These calves will weigh between 1,304 pounds and 1,384 pounds. First call for class 3 of our market steers. First call for class 3. This is second call for class 3 market steers. Second call for class 3. This will be last call for Class 3 market steers. Last call for Class 3.
Really nice class of steers out here. A good top pair for sure. The young man's black steer, I think, just has the class advantage in terms of some structural integrity and the way he gets out and moves. I think he takes just a little bit longer, more athletic stride. You get your hands on this one. Pretty good in terms of back cover. It's really, really fresh. Gives you such a nice look from the side. I love how much dimension this one has. He's maybe not the stoutest featured steer in here, but I think he's got enough. A nice place to start the class. The red steer that comes next, I like this one in terms of a width standpoint. I think he maybe just has a little bit more shape right over the top side of his loin. For me, maybe it's a little bit straighter and his cock doesn't take quite as much of a long stride off of his shoulder there as this steer that starts the class, but certainly one that's good in his own right as well. The red steer with the white switch, it comes next. Young man's done a great job of feeding this one. He's at 12 o'clock. He's ready to go today. He's good in terms of his haircut. He's put a lot of work into it. Just to see the structure struggles a little bit for me today. I think he wants to get pretty straight off of either end. I'd like to just loosen him off from that standpoint. But young man's done a nice job of feeding this big stuff steer. The steer that's going to round out the class, one that's really practical. Good in terms of structural integrity, gets out and goes plenty well. He's long-sided. Today, he kind of just gets out power. He's a little bit flatter muscle, just one that needs a little bit more time on feet of the class. He's probably the farthest from being at a market standpoint to main carcass on the rail, but a nice class of the steers there.
Results from our second class of market steers. First place purple goes to Owen Lassen. Second place purple goes to Parker Caraway. Third place purple goes to Reeves McConville. And fourth place blue goes to Taylor Kramer. Next in the ring, we've got two entries in our third and final class in our market steer division. These animals weigh between 1,648 and 1,663 pounds.
steers here. I'm going to leave them in the order they came in with the young lady to my right. I think this steer's just a little stouter as he's stepping behind him. He's maybe just a little more square from hooks to pins. These young ladies have done an excellent job of feeding these steers. They're finished, they're ready to go. The industry's killing steers this size every day of the week. They've done a nice job of getting them here to the fair. They're just good, practical, easy feeding type of steers that you can make some money on in a yard. The steer that comes second, again, maybe just one that gives up a little bit of its stifle as you step in behind them, but two nice steers there. Congratulations to them.
Results of our third class of market steers. Your first place purple goes to Alex Rickerson. Second place purple goes to Harlow Rickerson. Next in the ring, we're going to bring in our first and second place from our purples from first three classes of market steers. Select our champion reserve champion market steer. At this time, this will be first call for our first class of bred and fed. First call, class 1, bred and fed. We need our first and second place purple market steers up here in the holding area. Ready to select our champion reserve champion market steer. This will be second call for class 1 bred and fed. Second call for class 1 of our bred and fed division.
Speaking of our class winners out here for this year's young ladies gold steers, one that, as we talked, gives you a nice look. I like the way this one's built. I think he's pretty neat by his head and his neck, and just kind of the look he gives you from a profile standpoint. He's stout and square from hooks to pins. Today he's going to be one that just needs some more time on feeding. Maybe gets a little bit higher up in his flank, but a nice steer there. The black steer that wins that second class is one that I like quite a lot. I think he's really good in terms of a lot of different aspects. He's got some muscle shape and dimension. He's maybe not the stoutest one out here, but I think he's got enough shape to him. He's certainly one that handles nice. He's really good in terms of presentation, just a really nice steer there. Big heavyweight steer, just a really good practical, functional type of steer that can turn up, go hang a carcass on the rail. The red steer that was second in the second class, I think really followed that class winner in terms of type and kind, just being a little bit fancier made, certainly one that's got a lot of shape to it. maybe just didn't get out and move quite as well off either end, but certainly one that's good enough. I like a lot of things about that steer as well. Second place from the third class, the other heavyweight steer, again, just a really good practical type of steer. A nice lineup of them out here. I think there's two that go together off a nice swell, though I don't think a champion deserved in this division, but congratulations, let's put our needs together for them.
Last call for Class 1 bred and fed. Last call. Your champion market beef, market steer, comes out of Class 2, shown by Owen Lassen. Steer weighing 1,384 pounds. Reserve champion, also out of Class 2, shown by Barton Caraway, with steer weighing 1,384 pounds. Congratulations. Next is our bred and fed division. We'll have 4 entries in our first class. These calves will weigh between 1,150 and 1,226 pounds. First call for Class 2 bred and fed. First call for Class 2. This is second call for Class 2 bred and fed. Second call. Last call for Class 2 bred and fed. Last call.
Next class of steers here as we get into the red and fed division, the young man steer that starts the class. I really like this one just from a style and balance standpoint. He gives you a really nice look from the side. He's really smooth shouldered. He gets out and moves nice. If you're going to critique this one, he could be just a little bit sadder, obviously just a little bit more time on feet, but the design of this one's awfully good. We're going to go ahead and start with him. The red steer that comes next, I like the natural shape and expression of muscle that he's got too. The young man's doing a nice job of getting in there. He's a little bit more time on feet, but I think we're headed on the right track. I like the natural width and dimension of that one. The black steer that comes next, I like the rib shape of this one. I think it's plenty soft there through the center portion of his body. He just gets a little bit flatter as you step in behind him and compare him to those two steers above him. He's doing a nice job with him as well. And the kind of freckled up brony steer that's going to come last, I think one that just maybe structurally could be changed a little bit. He wants to get a little bit harder made. Maybe one that you'd just like to soften up a little bit. But a nice class of the bred and feds. Let's give them a round of applause.
Results from our first class of bred and fed. First place purple goes to Leighton Johnson. Second place blue goes to Gus Barnes. Third place blue, Owen Charlie, and fourth place blue, the Valley Barnes. Next in the ring is our second class of bred and feds. These calves weigh between 1,506 and 1,584 pounds. First call for class 3 bred and fed. First call for class 3. Second call for class 2 bred and fed. Second call for class 3. This is the last call for class 3 bred and fed. Last call for class 3.
Another nice class of steers here in the bred and fed division. The young ladies' red steer's going to start. I think this one's just the stoutest featured one of the classes. Got the most amount of expression. As you study him over the top side of his skeleton and into his loin, you get your hands on him. I think he's one that's good in that right. Certainly one that's going to make a nice carcass there on the rail. She's done a nice job with him. The black steer that comes next, I like the length of body of this one. I think he's good enough in that right. He's one that maybe just could use a little bit extra fat cover on him today, but I think one that's on the right path. He's got some muscle shape, just gets a little flatter in terms of shape and expression. You can compare him to the red steer that's walking out the gate, but a nice steer that's on the right as well. The young lady steer that rounds out the class, I like the softness of the rib shape of this one. I think he's one that's pretty appropriate in terms of the amount of fat cover. He's maybe one that just gets a little bit flatter. Just like to let him get out and go just a little bit better off of that front end. He kind of gets a little straight at the angle of his shoulder, but a nice class of the bred and fed there.
Results from our second class of bred and fed. First place purple goes to Megan Walahoski. Second place purple goes to Emma Hollander. And third place blue goes to Katie Wolf. Next in the ring, we have our third and final class in our bred and fed. There's 3 entries in this class. These calves weigh between 682 and 1,746 pounds.
And I saw some steers in the heavyweight division. All of them have done the job of getting them fed out and ready for the fair. Each one of these steers can hang on the rail and hang plenty of carcass. They've done a nice job in that regard. The black and white steers didn't start the class. I think as you study them on the ground, he's maybe one that's just a little bit better built. Obviously, all of them are appropriate in terms of where they're at. Fat-wise, they're ready to rock and roll today. They've done a nice job there. The kind of heavyweight steer that was that comes second, I think one that's maybe starting to just get a little bit more pulled apart at the base of his chest where he's kind of toning out a little bit. He wants to get a little bit bow-legged out of his hop here when you set him into motion, but a nice steer that's turned up ready to hang a carcass. The steer that's exited will be third, certainly one that's long-sided. For me, I think in this particular class, just gets a little bit tighter maybe in his forerib and his flank, but certainly one that's going to go out and hang a carcass. They've done a nice job of getting them fed, so let's give them a round of applause.
Results from our third class of bred and fed. First place purple goes to Alex Ricketson. Second place purple to Brent Ricketson. And third place purple to Harlow Ricketson. Next in the link will be our first and second place purples from the three classes of bred and fed for our champion and reserve champion bred and fed. Following that, we're going to start with our market heifers. We have a super class of market heifers. So this is first fall for market heifers. First fall for market heifers.
Nice lineup of the steers out here, and congratulations to each one of you in the bred and fed for bringing nice cattle out here and being able to raise them at home and get them out here. Young man steer from the first class, I think one that by far is the most striking in terms of just appearance. This one's really good, level made, he's really smooth shouldered, just gives you a really nice look. I guess for me, he's one that kind of gets questionable and if he has enough muscle. I'd like to see more, especially at the top side of his shoulder blade there. I think he gives up quite a bit of shape to the steers that stand in behind him, but one that's really good in terms of the structural build and the way he's designed. The red steer out here is really just a good meat and potatoes type of steer. This one's really good in terms of the amount of fat cover he's got. He's very appropriate in that regard. He gives you a good enough look. He's maybe not quite as fancy fronted as that one that comes to us from that first class, but this is just a really good practical type of steer, and I like that about him. The black and white steer that wins the third class, kind of the same can be said. I think he's one that's just ready to go today. You can hang carcass on the rail and get money for what you've got out here. I think maybe the red steer kind of combines some features from both steers on either side of him. And then the second place steer that's out here, I think one, as we said in class, maybe starting to get on the bigger end of things, maybe causing some structural issues and a little bit of breakdown there. But a couple of steers out here that are just really nice. I'll go out and pick a champion reserve, but let's put our hands together for the red and fifth division.
Second call, market heifers, second call. So your champion bred and fed comes out of class 2, shown by Nate Walahowski. And reserve champion out of class 1, shown by Lathan Johnson. Congratulations, those two. Next in the ring, we'll do our market heifer division. This is the last couple of market heifers, so please bring them up to the whole area and get checked in. You'll have 4 entries. And those heifers will weigh between 1,050 and 1,182 pounds. There's a single class, so this will also be our champion reserve champion. So following this class, we will need our champion reserve champions from our market steer and bred and fed ready for the selection of our overall champion market B family. We need to have our champion, reserve champion, market steer, and bred and fed animals ready following this class for the selection of our grand champion overall market B family.
This one possibly market heifers in a nice group of them. I'm going to go ahead and use the white-faced heifer to start the class off with. I think she's the one that balances up really nice. She gives you a nice look. She's really stout and square from her hip and down to the ground. When you get your hands on them, I like the way this one's starting to get some fat cover on her. Certainly a nice heifer there. I think it's fair to say that all four of them could be restructured just a little bit the way they get out and move. I'm not sure that there's necessarily a structurally fault-free one out here, but I think she's the one that's probably the closest to getting out and moving for me. I'm going to go ahead and use a kind of mousy colored heifer next. I like the average frame size of this one. She's not quite close to being finished yet, but I think she's one that's got a lot of natural shape. He's stepping behind her, and I like that a lot about her. She could be remade off of the rear too for sure, and even out of her shoulder. But again, I like the added frame size and the added muscle of this one. The heifer that's going to come third too, she's got some muscle. I like that about her. She maybe needs a little bit more time on feed. For me, she's one that's getting awfully moderate. She too could be kind of remade from the ground up and make her just take a little bit longer, more athletic stride. But the young lady's done a nice job with her. The heifer that's going to round out the class is probably one of the longer sided type of heifers. I appreciate that about her. I think she's one that's maybe a little bit more appropriate in terms of fat cover in comparison to a couple of the others right in front of her, but she needs a little bit lighter in terms of her muscle shape. Looks to be maybe fighting an injury right now, but she's doing a great job with her as well. Let's get around to a hospital market heifer exhibitors.
Results from our market heifer division. First place in champion purple goes to Megan Lassen. Second place in reserve champion purple goes to Gabby Caraway. Third place purple goes to Bristol Conville. And fourth place blue goes to Megan Lawson. Next, we'll be lining up for our market series bred and fed and market heifers for our overall champion market beef. Following in that, we're going to need Taylor Kramer, Alex Richardson, Carlo Richardson, and Alex Richardson. So Alex, you're in there twice. For our rated game contest, we'll provide the results from that. So following our selection of our overall market beef champion, here, we need those three folks out front here in the arena, and we'll announce the rated game winners. Also, we want to thank the Dawson County Cattlemen, who are the sponsors for all of our banners this year. So if you see a member of the Dawson County Cattlemen, thank them for their sponsorship and support of the Dawson County Fair.
good beef show today. You guys have done a nice job of bringing some really good cattle all the way from the top and down to the bottom. So I commend each one of the exhibitors and the families also that got you here. I'll just say a couple quick things about each one. We've talked to plenty, and then I'll pick you a champion. But the last year, from that first division, certainly one that gives you a really nice look. I like a lot of things about him. I think it's very appropriate in terms of fat cover. Again, really good structure, and I like that. The rest here from the bred and fed division, really big scouts here. One that's really practical, really well built. There's nothing really fancy about this one, but he's just really good in terms of being a market presentation there. The market heifer, she's really flashy. She gives you a really neat look from the side. If we're going to change her, I would like to free her up from a structural standpoint. Just let her take a little bit longer, more athletic stride. The reserves here, the red one from the first division as well, really followed that costume. I like the muscle shape he's got. I think he's one that's really attractive. Certainly a nice steer as well. Our reserve of the bred and fed one that's really youthful, and maybe even one you can call the greener one out here. It gives you such a neat look, and I like that about him. I just like to see him a little bit stouter featured. That kind of mousy colored reserve heifer out here. Certainly one that's got really stout and square. I like the amount of natural muscle shape she's got. I like her out of her hip. Again, another one you could maybe change from a structural standpoint at the grounds. A really nice lineup of them out here. I'll go out and I'll show you the two I like. Well, let's put our hands together for the exhibitors here in the fair this year.
Your grand champion market animal for the 2026 Market Beef Show is out of the Market Steer Division. It's shown by Owen Lassen. Reserve champion also comes out of that same Market Steer Division, shown by Parker Caraway. Your grand champion steer weighed 1,384 pounds, as well as your reserve champion also weighed 1,384 pounds. So congratulations to those exhibitors. Now if we can have Taylor Kramer and Alex Rickardson and Carlo Rickardson out the ring. We'd like to announce the reigning top four here. Alex is in here twice. You can get out there ready here and when you get a chance, get your animals where they need to be. And we'll start this. All right, so we have Taylor Kramer, Alex Rickardson, and Harlow Rickardson out here to announce our top four rated game. Your champion for rated game for 2026 goes to Taylor Kramer. Showing a steer that had a gaining weight of 765 pounds and had a rated gain of 4.11 per day. Alex Rickardson is your reserve. Had a steer weighing starting weight of 865 pounds and had a 4.06 rate of gain. Third place went to Harlow Rickardson with a steer that started out at 920 pounds and gained 4.05 per day. And Alex also had the fourth place animal in the rated game contest, showing a steer that had a gaining weight of 840 pounds and had a rate of gain of 4.02 per day. Congratulations to you three. Great job. I'll have you go over and get pictures. If you are the exhibiter that wants to show in the 10 of 5 is up next. We'll give you a few minutes here to get your pins of 5 together and then come up to the holding area so we can get you in the ring. 10 of 5. we're waiting on our exhibitors to gather their cattle together. It looks like we're going to have one pen of five. That'll be one pen of five. Our pen of five is usually shown by horseshoe men. I believe this is the only pen of five we have in the show this year. Question ready to Freckles or 10 to 5? Okay. All right. Join us tomorrow at 9 o'clock for the big show, swine show. And then 3 o'clock we'll have the elite showman. So that concludes our B show for today. Thank you all for joining us, and congratulations to all of our exhibitors that showed today. A lot of work went into those projects throughout the year to get where we were today. So if you see or know some of those exhibitors, congratulations on all the work they did this year.